Joining us now, Congressman Gerald Nadler, a member of the New York delegation working to investigate the health impacts of this disaster, and a friend of the show and a recent New Yorker, Arianna Huffington, who joins us on the set as well this afternoon. Hello, Arianna. Nice to see you. Congressman, a pleasure to see you. Do you believe the protections are in place to provide the safety necessary for those who are dealing with this, not only now but in the days and weeks and months to come?
No, I do not believe so. I believe we are creating, in the process, possibly of creating a second catastrophe, a preventable catastrophe, by not providing proper, by not insisting that the OSHA laws be followed, the occupational safety and health laws be followed, by not insisting that people who wade into the water and deal with the gunk and the fumes and everything else wear proper respiratory equipment. And I have to say, I went through this once before. You know, I represent the World Trade Center area in Lower Manhattan, which was attacked by the terrorists 9 years ago, and there were two catastrophes there, one created by the terrorists and one created largely by the malfeasance of the federal government, which told people the air was safe to breathe when it wasn't, and some of us were screaming and telling people, don't believe the federal government, don't believe Christy Todd Whitman, don't send your kids back to school, don't go back to work, and we were insisting that people that the workers must wear proper protective clothing. That wasn't done, and today we have so far 45,000 people under treatment, first responders, and 5,000 community residents. And I don't want to see the same thing repeat.
Can we do something about this? In other words, Arianna, when you look at this, does the opportunity politically to intervene actually exist, or are we going to be subject to more denial and cover-up from our government?
Well, absolutely it exists. In fact, this is a great teachable moment. It's a teachable moment about what's happening on the ground right now, both in terms of the problems that the congressman mentioned, in terms of compensation, but also in terms of who do you trust? Because, you know, we had Admiral Pat Allen, who is responsible from the government's point of view, say that he still trusts Tony Hayward and BP, even though they continue to put out misinformation, they continue to withhold information, and there's a clampdown about what the media have access to. So that's what's happening on the ground. But then beyond that, I'd love to hear Congressman Nadler talk about the teachable moment, about the role between the government and a private company. Well, because it's fascinating to have the Chamber of Commerce head right now, Tom Donahue, say that in fact the government should be responsible for all the costs. Suddenly we have the Chamber of Commerce wanting the government to intervene, while up to now it's all been about what the private sector is going to do.
Well, the fact that the head of the Chamber of Commerce is saying the government should be responsible for the costs is not surprising, because they want private enterprise to reap all the profits and government and the taxpayers to take all the risks. You socialize the losses and privatize the profits. That's not new for big business, which is what the Chamber of Commerce represents. But this is a separate problem. I mean, first of all, I don't trust BP at all, because they have obviously not been honest. But the federal government has not been shown up to date that it's facing up to its responsibilities. There is no question but that people, cleanup workers, we see pictures of fishermen going out, wading into water and scooping up oil and dispersants and God knows what, and they're not wearing protective gear, they're not wearing respirators. The federal government should push BP aside and should insist no one may do this work without wearing proper protective gear, and if they don't want to, they can't work there.
I guess the obvious question is, why has that not happened already?